Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm back, finally. Here to wish you a late happy holidays and a bit of an early happy New Year's. And it is that time of year, my favorite time for year-end lists. So I'm here today to bring you my favorite releases of 2021. Now, it's been an amazing year for music. One of the few good things to come out of the pandemic in the last 2 years is the sheer number of new albums coming out. I was very worried that the economic impact of the pandemic would bring a grave future for our scene, but it's in turn provided a space for extreme productivity. And my hats are off to all the bands this year for not only their resilience, but also by providing us all the music that we crave and need in such hard times. I'm going to do this a little bit differently this year. Last year, I just did a top 10, but with the just extreme amount of amazing records this year, among just so many releases, it was really hard to narrow down a top 10. And I figured since it's been a while since I've actually done any kind of music breakdown, my channel this year has sort of suffered from that because in the beginning of the year I was kind of thinking, well, I'm not really going to be doing collection updates or music reviews as much, just wasn't having as much fun doing them and never felt like I was very good at it. But I was thinking I'm just going to keep doing hiking videos and that's it, just to kind of stick to that sort of thing. But I kind of realized after a while, like, I can't really get out and do hiking videos very much because it's just too much work. And not to say I won't keep doing them, just only have enough time to really belt out maybe 4 or 5 of those a year. So I figured I was kind of doing myself a disservice and my viewers to not actually try and put some videos out a little bit more often. So I'm kind of hoping that 2022 is going to bring that. And so I'm really happy to announce that I'm going to be bringing a new series on my channel. And ever since the pandemic hit, all of the YouTubers have been kind of doing these live streams, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of a few of those, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm really digging that format. I think that that's kind of a cool way to do this sort of thing, even if it's just solo. But I figured ever since I started my channel, I met quite a few folks that are not only into hiking, but into metal as well. That was kind of one of the reasons why I started this channel, is I really wanted to branch out and find other people like that. So it's going to be really cool. So the way I'm going to do my top releases is I pick 25 records. I'm going to break down 11 through 25 on this video, and then I'm going to save my top 10 for my first live stream, which is going to be next Wednesday. And I've got a very special guest for that. His name is Ave Mors. He has a YouTube channel, and he does similar videos to me. He does like music reviews while he's hiking. It's a little bit different format than mine, but I will link his channel below. You should go check him out. I think he's going to be a really great guest. We're just going to go ahead and break down our top 10 favorite releases. And after that, we're going to start talking about hiking. So it's going to be kind of a multi-purpose kind of stream, and that's kind of my goal going forward with future guests, is going to be, kind of meet that criteria. You got to be a metalhead, and you got to be not just really a hiker, but just an outdoor enthusiast. It doesn't really matter what you do. Any of you watching out there is interested in that, maybe you want to join me and just jump on a stream, talk what we're listening to, shoot the shit about hiking, or whatever you do. Climbing, any kind of recreational activity outdoors, or if you just like to just go to an overlook and hang out and smoke a bowl and listen to some music, do that too. January 5th is what I'm planning. Wednesday night, January 5th, is going to be the first live stream with Ave Mors, and we will, as I said, be breaking down our top 10 records, so I'm not going to do that here. I'm saving that for then. So right now, let's just go through the other ones that I've picked out for this year. Now, some of these I have physical copies of, and other ones I've got vinyl that I ordered that it's going to be probably next year by the time I get them, so I'll show off what I've got, and just give you a few words about what I thought about these. And this was just a really, really hard list to put together because there was just, there's no way I even got around to all the records that were released this year. It's near impossible. I've been scrambling at the bit the last 2 or 3 weeks, just trying to listen to as much as I possibly could to prepare for this. So without further ado, I'm going to start with number 25, and that's going to be the band Replicant with Malignant Reality on Transcending Obscurity Records. I do not have a physical copy of this. I ordered the vinyl, but it looks like due to the vinyl delays, I'm not going to be getting it for a couple months. This is sort of a tech obscure death avant-garde band from New Brunswick, New Jersey. This almost didn't make the list as there were so many good releases this year that easily could have been on here, but it's good enough that it deserves to be mentioned. One of the most interesting releases of the year, and one of many 2021 newer bands that are clearly a product of their influences and paying homage to the veterans. The music of Replicant channels Demolic and Obscura-era Gorguts combined with a mid-level sort of crushing dissonant groove. They don't hide the fact that they are so Gorguts influenced that the vocalist sounds uncannily like Luc Lemay. I think they managed to take those influence and present an approach that does sound fresh and forward-thinking. The only gripe that I have is the singer. He sounds a lot like Luc Lemay, and he uses that sort of howling style that Lemay kind of popularized in Obscura. He uses it a little bit too much, and I can kind of do without it. It kind of gets a little bit, just overwhelming with that. Interesting release from a next generation band that is pushing the genre forward. All right, and by the way, I kind of wrote notes for all these releases because it's just easier for me that way. Number 24, Worm, Foreverglade on 20 Buck Spin Records. This is a death doom, funeral, atmospheric type metal band from Florida. Equal parts funeral doom, black metal with guitar solos that pay homage to Chuck Schuldiner and Andy LaRocque. That last element really elevates this band in terms of the solos. And you're going to hear me say this a lot for some of these releases. This is another newer band this year that are clearly a product of their influences, paying homage to the veterans, taking what they did and pushing it forward. And that's really exciting. Hear a lot of heavy Evocan influence on the music, disembowelment, things like that. You guys know this album. Everybody's been talking about it. Also, this is some of the best cover art this year for sure. Another one that I ordered the vinyl for, and that's going to be a couple months, so I don't have a physical copy. They were really hyped with the last release, Gloomlord, which I thought was really good, but this one they really, really upped the ante in terms of the production and just kind of expanding the sound, really atmospheric and just big, a lot of synths and just crushing funeral doom. Very killer. Number 23, I do have a copy of this. This is Woman is the Earth with Dust of Forever on Einit Records. Now, this is sort of an atmospheric post-black metal band from Black Hills, South Dakota. These guys have been around for a few years and released a few records, but they always seem to slip the collective radar. I discovered that they had a new album from one of Ben's recent videos, Brain Smasher, and didn't even know I hadn't even heard anything about it, so he was just raving about it. And this is atmospheric black metal married with sort of a post-metal element that reminds me of the band, if you ever heard of Vatnet Viskar. They did a record a few years back called Settler, which has sort of a similar feel to this. That band is no longer around anymore, but was a really great record and had that sort of heavy post-metal influence. Woman is the Earth, they also kind of recall the band Mare Cognitum, and where the music is otherworldly and feels like a journey through the cosmos. The songs have a similar template, which at times can be a little long-winded, but most of these songs is kind of an exercise in fast tremolo picking guitars, blasting drums, with a sort of overlay of synth and chanting vocals to expand the atmosphere. They do break up the dynamics a little bit toward the middle, and actually toward the end. I think one of the best songs on the record would be The Rope Gets Tighter. in a lot of ways, this album requires your undivided attention to fully appreciate it. Very just layered and sort of realm building music. And I still feel like I need to listen to it a lot more, but I really enjoyed it. All right, number 22. This would be, and actually do have a copy of this, and this band is called Silver Talon with Decadence and Decay, which was released on M Theory Audio Recordings. This is a heavy power thrash metal band from Portland, Oregon. Portland bands are killing it this year as they were last year. This is another case of a band wearing their influences on their sleeves. They combine, like I said, the sounds of Nevermore and Queensryche with a more technical approach and produced this debut album. It is shocking how similar the singer Wyatt Howell sounds like Royal Dane. Sounds like the bastard child of Royal Dane. And even Andy LaRocque provides a guest solo on the second track, Resistance 2029. I heard about this band on the Metalheads podcast. This was in their ranking, and that's kind of one of the things I need to do, like at the year end, is I go through everybody else's year end list to go see all the stuff that I missed out on, and then I'm scrambling at the bit to listen to everything I can. But this one really stood out. I missed Nevermore, huge Nevermore fan, and this is really good. I mean, again, like I've said for many of these bands, this is another new band that's channeling the veterans and kind of taking it somewhere else. There's even a little bit of sort of Alice in Chains influence, I would say, like on the last track. But it's a lot of fun, just a lot of hooks, fun, tech power metal. I mean, but a little heavier than power metal, kind of like Nevermore was. And this vocalist is awesome. I mean, he sounds like Royal Dane, but hey, nothing wrong with that. So, yep, very cool. Silver Talon. All right, number 21. This is 1914 with Where Fear and Weapons Meet on Napalm Records. This is a Black Death Doom band from the Ukraine, and their songs, lyrics are very much just sort of like World War I stories. I think that's pretty much the war that they focus on. They've been around for a bit, and I think they have a couple other albums. I've never paid attention to them before this year, and this album fucking rips for sure. It's a little long-winded, but well, I shouldn't say long-winded. It's a long listen. It's a lot of music. I'm a sucker for bands that inject real history into the concept, and these guys, they give us, as I said, these just singular, sort of concepts on different battles from World War I. I appreciate the level of detail in the album booklet with all these old historical photos, and that really helps gain an understanding of the stories within these lyrics. And just listening to the music, you can just really feel the destruction on these European battlefields through the music, which is quite a cocktail of just technical black and death doom, with a sort of subtle orchestral vibe to it. Very, very well written songs and well produced. I'm gonna need to go back and check some of their previous releases out, but really enjoyed it. All right, number 20 is going to be the new Hooded Minutes with the Tritonus Bell, which just came out on Season of Mist Records. This is Death Doom from Helsinki, Finland. I'm new to this band. As I understand, they have quite a few releases before this. I've heard of them. I just, for whatever reason, have never checked them out. Though Death Doom, this is just a great heavy metal record, bringing in sort of a heavy, like King Diamond, Candlemass type influence, super glossy production, super heavy, hooky, and menacing. This could have easily been higher up my list, but yeah, I mean, everybody knows this one. It's great. Number 19, Halder. The album is God's Slastering, Hymns of a Forlorn Peasantry, that came out on Iron Bonehead Productions. Another sort of semi-hyped release. It's just one woman does all the instruments, just a one woman band, and that's pretty interesting. I guess you can liken that to Mirkur, even though Mirkur, I feel, has kind of moved away from black metal. This is a fresh take on the sort of second wave black metal, with, like I said, that sort of heavy melodic medieval theme to it, but retaining that raw yet clearer production. You can really hear the dark thrown in there, taking what the masters have done and adding primitive synth and ambient textures. An exciting debut from a band that has just signed to 20 bucks spin, from what I've heard, and I'm excited to see where they go. I'm surely they're going to be amazing going forward. A really good black metal release. I really like just the sort of rawness to it, but I like the melodic elements to it as well. So, number 18, Mortiferum, Preserved in Torment. I do have a copy of this. This came out on Profound Lore Records, and this is a death doom, old school death metal from Olympia, Washington. And I'm not going to show you every single vinyl, but this is kind of worth seeing because the variant came out really cool. Really love this band's last record, so I just pre-ordered this as soon as it came out. But yeah, kind of a cool ink blot with splatter kind of deal. Very nice pressing. Yeah, Mortiferum, what is there to say, man? Heavy as shit. Mortiferum crafted one of the better Death Doom albums of the year. Just stupid, sick, filthy Death Doom. Sounds like it was unearthed from the depths of a time past. This is a risky endeavor, as so many bands are doing this cave-dwelling fashion, but Mortiferum have a very unique compositional ability to maintain your attention throughout a song without building the gradual, ominous death metal to an extremely satisfying climax. Got those super sick mega ride bell cymbals from an excellent, thoughtful drummer. Sorry, that was kind of a word soup there, but I just typed all this out and didn't really think about it too much, so might sound a little goofy. Though I might like the last record a little bit better. Stylistically, this is one of the best bands in the genre. It's not really a whole lot different than the last record. I mean, I think it's just maybe a little more streamlined. Maybe, these guys have just a way of just building their songs and keeping your attention while you do that. And it's really hard to do when it comes to this style of stuff. Yeah, great release. One of the best death metal releases of the year for me, for sure. All right, number 17 is Cerebral Rot with Excretion of Mortality. This came out on 20 bucks spin. Another old school death metal band from Seattle, Washington. Man, another hype band from their debut album, which, is just kind of a band that's just in this gigantic pool. A ridiculous number of bands are doing this style of stuff. This could have easily fell within the pool somewhere. And for me, I enjoyed their first day. I enjoyed the first record, the debut. I just thought it suffered from a lack of songwriting ideas, shit drums, and subsequently lumped into the million other bands trying this approach. It was evident, however, that with more memorable songwriting, better drums, and a streamline of their sound could give this band the much-needed vitality required to stand out from the pack. And they have done just that, I believe, with this record. Great cover art, too. The songwriting on this record is leaps and bounds from the debut. Unlike so many bands doing this type of death metal, the hooks and riffs get stuck in your head. The songs are just holistically memorable. The drums are so much better this time around. They really fixed that. I mean, I thought that was kind of a problem on the first record. I don't know. I love the production of the drums themselves. Just the production in general. It's like clear, but it just sounds like it's coming out of a cave or something like that. Especially when it does those big, huge tom rolls. It's just a lot of reverb. So I said, swim and bang your head in the muck and filth and wash off the grime of this past couple of shit years with Cerebral Rot. I think that says it best. All right, this is kind of an interesting one. Number 16 is Mastodon, Hutchin Grim, on Reprise Records. And I wasn't going to buy the vinyl for this, but the CDs, being it's a double album, the CD press was just like this really shitty digipack, and I don't know. I hate it. It was one of those real flimsy digipacks too. So vinyl, I just went with it because I really dig this record. And what I've got to say about Mastodon, I've always liked Mastodon. Some records are better than others, but I never felt they put out anything bad. At the same time, the mention of a new Mastodon record was just something that didn't really excite me. They're one of those bands that I really like a lot, but find myself not in the mood for as much as I once was. It took me a bit to come around to Hush and Grim, as I had friends going on and on about how great it was, and they were right. Kind of risky to release a double album for this band, I think. But if, as I said about the what we've learned from the pandemic, just the impact on metal bands, man, it's pretty amazing under the scene. These guys hunkered down and just wrote a double album of killer songs front to back. It's just a great proggy Mastodon record, and I'd say that every single thing is good. Every single song is good. These guys are just good songwriters, memorable. Number 15, Cannibal Corpse, Violence Unimagined. My Metal Blade Records, these guys, gore death metal from Tampa, Florida. Another veteran band on my list who has been arguably consistent their entire career. The addition of Eric Rutan on guitar and songwriting gave this band a much-needed injection that sees them firing on all cylinders and showing that they aren't nearly done with their now 30-year run of pure, unadulterated fucking death metal. Cannibal Corpse are as good as their songs are catchy, memorable, and just damn fun. This record applies that template to a near-perfect result, and I'm damn glad for it. Loving to see these guys still killing it. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? The songs are just, these guys are as good as how strong the songs are written. I think Eric Rutan really, he's just the perfect guy for them. I love the songs that he penned on here, and they just stepped it up, and just, they always try to just deliver a killer set of songs that are really well written, memorable, and they just really, really nailed it on this one, I think. So that's all you can ask for from Cannibal Corpse, and they sound as good as ever on here. The only complaint that I have is, man, ditch Vincent Locke. I'm so tired of his cover art. And bring back the old logo too while you're at it. I know they can't because Barnes owns it, but I mean, come on, how hard could that be to make it happen? I just feel like there's so many better artists now that could do some. Now that's the uncensored artwork. I'm sure everybody's seen the censored, which is a little bit better than that, but it's just, I feel like all his artwork since, you can't deny those first 5-6 records are classic covers, and I don't know what Vincent Locke did. He went to this more like kind of coloring book kind of style that's just, it's always just felt lame to me. I just don't like it. So whatever, that's never going to happen. They said they're not going to ever do an album without Vincent Locke cover art. It sucks. All right, number 14. This could have easily been way higher up on my list, but it's the new Panopticon and Get Into the Light. And I've had quite some time to sit with this. I've listened to it quite a bit. Another one easily could have been way up on my list. It's such a hard year to pick favorites. To call this my number 14. Ask me what day, it could be a lot higher than that. But yep, Panopticon, Get Into the Light on Binary Recordings. This is an atmospheric folk, bluegrass, black metal band from Minnesota. I think he moves around a lot, so I think he's in Minnesota still. What I wrote is, Austin Lund is a multi-talented Renaissance man who seems to play just about every instrument imaginable. I can't even fathom how the guy has time to run a brewery, father 2 children, recreate in nature, and write every aspect of the songs and perform every single instrument for these long-playing records that he seems to shit out on an extremely consistent basis. Now, yeah, he's got a couple of guys that do guest violins and things like that, but for the most part, he does all the instruments. Much like Wolves in the Throne Room, Panopticon to me is an extremely important band in his agenda to push the importance and relevance of nature, the warning against mankind's impact and willingness to destroy it. On this new record, I think Austin really found a perfect balance of his aggressive black metal meets folk, bluegrass, outlaw, country music. It's not unusual for Panopticon music to be a little bit long-winded, and relentless with the blasting sections, which sometimes gets to be a little bit much. Uh, and as a result, I kind of have to be in the mood to listen to them, especially when it comes to the more black metal stuff. Minor nitpicks aside, this could be the best thing he's done yet, and I really thank him for giving us a wealth of amazing music that we really, really enjoy. Yeah, really found the balance on this one. I mean, I really loved the double record, the last one, and especially just that album full of bluegrass and outlaw country. To me, that's almost like the best thing he's done. But on this one, like, I feel like he's really found that perfect balance between all his styles. So very, very well produced, and yeah, he's got some of the fastest double bass he's ever done on this record too. So yeah, great artist. I mean, he's not showing any signs of slowing down, and yeah, open up to come. All right, getting close to the end here finally. All right, I just got this in a couple weeks ago, so this is a tough one. Is the new Cynic Ascension Codes, and this came out on Season of Mist Records. This is Cynic, prog, progressive, ethereal, space, bit of metal, not really any death metal anymore, but from Miami, Florida, I think. I don't even know if Paul still lives there. This is a tough record to talk about. Knowing that Masvidal is all that's left in Cynic, it's a bit difficult to imagine a Cynic record without Sean Reinert and Sean Malone, who regrettably have left this plane of existence last year. I wanted this album to be further up in my list, however, it's just still so new, and I think it's going to take some time before I really know like where I stand with it in comparison to the rest of the discography. Because it's no surprise if you know me, Cynic is one of my favorite bands of all time. Regardless, it is evident from a handful of listens, Masvidal brought the music back to a pure, classic Cynic sound. I felt the direction of the last record, Kindly Bent to Free Us, was a little too rock-based for my taste and lost some of the ethereal magic of the band's sound. This one's got a little more metal, and I liken it closer to Trace and Air. It's very much a record that begs to be listened to from start to finish. It has this sort of cinematic quality and feel to it. It seems more interested like in the entire journey than it is the individual songs, whereas I feel like past Cynic records, it was really kind of more song-based, more about the song, to serve the song itself, whereas this really feels like a big journey, ebb and flow of a record. It's clear this was a very emotional record for Paul, and I look forward to diving into it further and enjoying it for years to come. And it's been hinted that this is the last Cynic record. I don't know if that's the case, but if it is, I'm pretty satisfied. All right, two more. Number 12. And this is the last of the vinyl that I've got, and this is the new Mare Cognitum, which I've talked about previously in another video with their new record, Solar Paroxysm, on Ivordhanger Records. Whew, man, what a beast. This band is atmospheric, cosmic, black metal from Portland, Oregon. No surprise there. One-man black metal band, and the guy, Jacob Buzarski, I think is how you pronounce his name. Jacob Buzarski continues to ascend the horizons unbound with the scathing new record of cosmic, atmospheric black metal. I think I liked Luminiferous Aether a little bit better, but as the music was a bit more dynamic and varied on that one, which gave the listening experience just a lot more space to get lost in. He really upped the intensity on this new one, and I felt this made the record fall just a little bit short, as the dynamics stay fairly static, with the sort of kind of just constant blasting, immense sonics, just a wall of pummeling riffs and blast beats. He takes it down a notch in the middle of the record on the middle track, Terror Requiem, where it kind of just brings it down, kind of a nice change of pace compared to the rest of the album. It just helped break it up a bit for me, but for the most part, this is an aggressive, riff-tastic album with the massive weight of a black hole to deform space-time and one of the best black metal albums of the year. Man, I gotta stop writing these long sentences of word soup. All right, last one, and this is number 11, and this is Omnium Gatherum, Origin on Century Media. Oh boy, this is melodic death metal from Finland. This didn't seem to do very well this year. It just came out a few months ago in terms of just, I don't know, a lot of people don't really go for this sort of thing. I do. I'm a longtime fan of this band, and they've been on a stellar trajectory on the past few albums. I feel like every record. I was a little worried about this when I first listened to it, but it quickly really grew on me. Omnium Gatherum, their songs are complete earworms, just chock full of the best melodies that get stuck in your head. On this new one, I think that they moved further away from death metal than they ever have. You know, you could even argue that on past records, the vocals are really the only element of death metal. I mean, the music doesn't really sound like death metal. Aside from some faster sections in the music, it's more just kind of heavy metal, thrash, maybe. Not a huge like death metal in terms of the music, but I think they should call this band Death Leopard, because that's totally what they sound like. Death Leopard with the death rock. Total happy boy metal, and this is a welcome departure for me. You know, when I'm looking for something a bit more uplifting than, you know, the usual dark brooding stuff. Omnium Gatherum music evokes a feeling of nostalgia for me that harkens back to my teen years. If you go and watch the video where they're riding in the cars, they got the cheerleaders in back with the Omnium Gatherum flags, cheesy as hell. It's stupid, but at the same time, I just love it. I don't know why. It just works for me. Makes me feel like a teenager again. So, very cool. This is just feel good, feel fun, melodic death cheese with a welcome element of positivity to balance out with the other sad boy Finnish bands of this ilk. Yep, I loved it. Most of you guys probably won't, but I don't give a shit. Shit makes me happy. So, all right, that's it. So, like I said, I haven't done my top 10 yet. There's 10 more to come. And as I stated previously, come join us next Wednesday. It should be really fun. I'm going to promote it on Instagram. Hopefully, Ave Mors doesn't have any issues, be able to make it. But yeah, it's been really cool, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. I know I haven't really been too active this year, but I plan on changing that. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm going to have some more hiking videos coming. I'm going to try and do more stuff like this, and you know, like I said, the streams. Kind of try and keep this channel a little more active. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys, really big time for joining me. Catch you on the stream. Don't miss it. Later.